Hello and welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell all the coolest Japanese collectibles and figurines straight out of Japan, and you can find more details about us, including our Facebook page and our eBay store, in the description of this video. So you see a lot of figurines in front of you, and I will actually be doing a proper video of the Akatsuki figures, but this video will be just reviewing the figurine that you see in the foreground, which is of Yahiko, aka Pain, who is the, I guess, arguable leader of the Akatsuki in the series Naruto Shippuden. So this is actually a little bit of a different review because we've never sold this figurine, nor will we ever sell it. And there are two reasons for that. Firstly is because it is not a Japanese figure. Not that we have anything against non-Japanese figures, but you know, we're based in Japan and that's our specialty. So yeah, and the second reason is because this was released a couple of years ago. It had a very limited production run. I think only 2.5 or maybe 3,000 of them were released, and they're now, you know, very hard to obtain and get. So, you know, it's not really viable for us to actually be selling these because, you know, the prices would be astronomical. So yeah, but so this is actually something that I obtained for my personal collection, and I'm really happy to have it. Really happy, and I thought I would you know, review it and just sort of show you guys all about this figure. So this is actually made by a company called Tsume Arts, and I don't know what Tsume is meant to mean in Japanese. It actually means nail, as in like fingernail, but I'm guessing that's not the meaning they intended. I don't know. But they're a French company, and I think they're actually based in Luxembourg, which is, I assume, for tax purposes. But they've actually made quite a few different Naruto figures, including some really big sculptures. So they kind of have like the big sculptures, for example, Deidara on his bird, there's Itachi with Susanoo, there's Naruto on Gamachi. So they have some really big sculptures, but these ones are part of the extra line, which is kind of like their base figures, which I'm going to try and show you underneath. So you can see there it says, I'm sure you can read, we can't get that in focus, sorry. There we go. Pain, Extra, Tsume, 2002, Masashi Kishimoto, who made the series 2007 Shippuden Rights Reserve. So Extra is the series line, Tsume is the company name, and obviously Pain is the character name. So let's actually have a look at the figurines. So firstly, the base. I quite like the base. I mean, it's meant to, you know, it's not meant to detract from the figures, so it's nice that they chose something, you know, simple but nice looking. And if you have some of these sort of customized figures that have been out on the market, they also have a round version. The Banpresto ones have the triangular one, but it's still similar design, so it kind of matches in with everything else. You then have the obviously the legs, and it does actually have the detail of his red nail polish, both in his toenails and also his fingernails. There we go. And you'll notice that there's actually some really nice sort of toning, kind of looks like airbrushing, you know, detail in the legs. It's quite nice. And then you've got the nice, obviously trademark Akatsuki cape, and yeah, it's a really nice smooth finish. You then have the chakra rod, which is actually a separate piece that you can get in there pretty easily. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised, and it's actually angled on both sides, so it doesn't matter which way you put that. And then we have obviously the hand with some more chakra rods, and the ring. Of course, all the Akatsuki members have the ring. And then you've got some more chakra rods and things. You also have these necklaces. I've seen a lot of pictures of these, but I didn't realize that they actually did the necklace as well, which is really cool. You can't normally see it, but they did include that. So that was a nice little surprise. And then you've got the Rinnegan eyes, of course. And yeah, I mean, pretty much all the details that you could hope for. So it's a pretty nice looking figure. So in terms of my review, actually what I think about this figure, I don't have the box, by the way. I bought this second hand, didn't have the box. It's not a very special looking box, but yeah. So I actually was surprised at its size. It's not massively bigger, but if I compare it to the Banpresto ones, it is actually notably bigger, and it's also slightly lower on the stand as well. It's probably a good 2 centimeters bigger, so I was quite happy about that. Actually, it was another nice little surprise. It's a little bit bigger than I thought. So that's actually a leaf in here. So that's one thing that I really like about it. I really love the stance. It doesn't have articulation, doesn't move, but I really love the stance. Just looks really very, very nice. I also like the fact that they used a brighter red. I think the colour that Banpresto used is too dark. It's almost like a maroon, so I like that they really went for that rich blood red colour. And it's a really nice finish as well on his cape. And like I said, just the fact that it's got all the details, like the the Rinnegan gun eyes and all the pins and all that sort of stuff. In terms of what I don't like about it, or what I think could have been improved, and I know this is going to sound really nitpicky, but if you bear with me, it'll hopefully make sense. Actually, maybe I'll say this first. The thing I don't like about Tsume Arts figures is that I think they're too expensive. I think they're ridiculously expensive. Like the difference between, I'm talking about when they first came out, because obviously prices vary over time, but the difference between this figure, the Pain, and let's say a Banpresto figure, which is like a genuine Japanese product, is probably about 5 times the difference in price. Now, I'd probably say that Tsume Arts 1 is a better figure, maybe, but either way, I mean, there's not much to differentiate between the two. And in fact, I'm probably only saying it's better because I like Pain. I mean, quality-wise, there's really not, I would say, any notable difference between the two. And yet, the difference in price is substantial. It really is, very big. And Tsume Arts, that's their model. They release very limited runs, and they try and make it seem exclusive. But I kind of stand there going, well, how many people are actually willing to spend that kind of money anyway for the figures? And that's just their model, and I think it's a shame because the cost of actually designing and producing a figure and releasing it commercially, once you've reached that point, whether you sell 10 or whether you sell like 20,000 or 50,000, doesn't make a huge difference really. I mean, yes, I don't know how these are manufactured. I don't think they're handmade. I don't know, but yeah, I wish that they made them cheaper and just made them more accessible to everybody. So yeah, and some of their other figures are like the big mole ones, like they're ridiculously, like they're $500 plus, like they're great figures, but like really, who's willing to spend $500 or $600 to have Dido on his bird? Like it looks great, but that's a lot of money. And the other thing is that I've noticed that actually shipping in France is really expensive. And so, because most of the sellers are actually based in France, you spend a lot of money just on the shipping. Like, for example, Pain here, this one cost me over $40 to be sent. And he's not big, he's not heavy. That's the size, so he's about, 6.5 inches maybe, probably about 18 centimeters. So, over $40. I spent a lot of time at the post office, and there's not many items that we have to send that cost over $40. So, yeah. So I think that's just a bit of a shame. In terms of things that I think could have been improved with this figure. Firstly, I noticed, and I know this is nitpicky, but the clouds are actually meant to be a bit more twirly. So you'll notice that they kind of make this sort of semicircle 180-degree turn, and there's also 3 of them. There's always 3 of them. Whereas this one, the Tsume Arts version, only have 2. Usually they only have 2 that actually go inside, and they don't twirl enough. Some of them do, but some of them don't. So that's a pretty important feature. I mean, the clouds is kind of the main focal point of the Akatsuki, so that's one thing. Second thing is just some of the paint job. Like I noticed in here, you probably can't see, but yeah, you can't see, but you know, in here there's like black splotches and things. Like that's a really like focal point of the figure, so they kind of got that wrong. Also the chakra rods here, the sides of them are actually a skin color. Like the top is right, but the side is a skin color. So it, again, you know, real focal point of the figure. It just, like, why would a metal rod be the color of skin? So they kind of got that wrong. Also, I noticed that and I actually only noticed this on the Banpresto figure in the video I made before this, but the Banpresto ones actually have I'll see if I can show it. They actually have the Japanese character or Chinese character written on the ring, whereas with the Tsume Arts one, I guess they couldn't do that. I mean, I'm super impressed that Banpresto managed to do that, but yeah. And even just the hands, again, a focal point. Like you sort of got some lines here, but overall it's a pretty sort of smooth, slimy looking hand. Whereas, actually it's not too bad. But I feel that again, the Banpresto ones, actually maybe I'll show it on Daedara. Like, he's got all these lines, like ignore the mouth, but you know, he's got lines for the thumb and all the finger joins. And then the back, you know, you sort of got like the knuckles and things. Whereas this one just, like, for example, the fingers are just smooth. There's no sort of, you know, a real hand obviously has like a few different marks. So, yeah, so I think, you know, and even the other thing as well was the eyebrows. The eyebrows are like just printed on. Whereas if I compare that to, maybe I'll show another figure for that. For example, this one. It's maybe hard to see, but it sort of comes out of the figure. It's actually molded, the eyebrows, and same with the eyes. Maybe if I show another one. So it just makes it look a bit more lively when you sort of have that actually molded, the eyes and the eyebrows molded in, versus something that's just printed. And look, all that stuff's pretty minor. It is, but you know, when you're paying absolute top dollar for a figure, you expect nothing but the absolute best. And, you know, as I said, I personally can't justify the prices that Tsume Arts charge for their figures. That's just my personal opinion. I'm interested what you guys think. But, look, I love this figure. I mean, it is a great figure. I'm really glad that a proper pain figure now exists. And I'm really, really happy to add this to my collection. There are a lot of things that I've spoken about that I really do like about this figure. But it's not a perfect figure. You know, I mean, in every video I talk about, even the stuff that, you know, like these ones, I've talked about things that I don't like about them. There's always room for improvement. But overall, it's a very, very good figure. Just very, very expensive. So anyway, that was the Tsume Arts paint figure, and thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.